The rural poor depend upon agriculture for their earnings. They are among the worst paid, worst fed, and worst housed of California's residents. The rural poor worker has basic human rights, but without a lawyer, does not have the strength to assert them. Until California Rural Legal Assistance opened its doors in 1966, rural poor people had no legal assistance in California. Over the years, CRLA's executive directors have tried to stay true to the vision of giving legal services to people who could not afford it.
Our tradition has been not only to do social justice, to bring social justice to rural California, but to always be at the cutting edge of the most significant rural issues that affect the lives of the most vulnerable.
In maintaining that tradition, CRLA has done significant work. In the 1980s, we won $27 million for unemployed workers. We were also able to help construct a federal immigration law that brought amnesty to millions. We sponsored the Birth Defect Prevention Act and the Housing Trust Fund. In the 1990s, CRLA's litigation restored millions for family planning and for women's health clinics, and we were able to gain more than $20 million in rural housing benefits for families living in trailer parks. In 1999, Blanca Alfaro came into CRLA with a problem. For several years, Blanca was working as a farm worker with an agricultural company in the Salinas Valley.
Yo fui a buscar trabajo ahí y estaba un supervisor encargado del personal de darle trabajo a las personas. Y entonces me pidió favores sexuales para poderme acomodar ahí.
After Blanca complained, she was fired. But CRLA saw the importance in recognizing Blanca's problem and bringing the issue out into the open.
She had, in fact, been required to have sex with that employer to get her job and then again to keep her job.
Me sentía burlada, pisoteada y abusada. Y era eso lo que yo deseaba, que se hiciera justicia.
We were able to investigate that claim and get corroborating evidence along with a partnership with the EEOC.
In what some people are calling a landmark case, the nation's biggest lettuce grower is paying $2 million to settle a sexual harassment case. Several women filed the lawsuit. One of them, Blanca Alfaro.
La Oficina Rural de California me ayudó muchísimo a mí a que ahora ya no soy la misma mujer de antes y que ahora puedo hablar y defenderme.
It was about a victory for all rural poor women who suffer that type of sexual discrimination in the workplace.
In Malaga, California, a small rural town outside of Fresno, lies a toxic, poisonous waste site. Recycled oil sludge has saturated the ground for over 6 decades. The Tall Trees Trailer Park community, which neighbored the site, was completely unaware of the dangers.
Cuando hacía calor adentro, salíamos afuera en la sombra y el niño también jugaba con la tierra de ahí, pero sin saber que había ese problema.
We went out there to give out flyers for a meeting. And while I was talking to a parent, this little girl took off her shoes and she started jumping into the muddy water. And I told the mother, do you realize that the dirt, it's contaminated?
Lamentablemente lo que no le agarramos cariño es al engaño en que nos tuvieron, que nunca nos dijeron, están viviendo en un lugar peligroso.
The recycled oil dump neighboring Tall Trees was named a Superfund site in 1983 by the Environmental Protection Agency. It has been at the top of the Superfund's cleanup list for 2 decades. However, until CRLA's involvement in 1997 with the EPA and other government agencies, the talks of cleaning up the site and discussions about hazards to the nearby residents were stagnant.
I can describe some of the animals, for example, that you would find. Some of the pets. These were animals that were mange-ridden animals that had open sores on their sides. And when trying to explain to the parents of the trailer park the risks that their kids might be having, we had them look at these pets.
Over the years, a nearby health center found a miscarriage rate almost 5 times higher than the rest of Fresno County. Residents of the trailer park have also complained of respiratory ailments, chronic headaches, and nausea. And surveys indicated high levels of lead, arsenic, mercury, benzene, and an assortment of other chemicals. Now fearing the contamination and pollution that surrounded their community, the residents formed a committee and nominated officers to serve as liaisons between the committee, CRLA, and the Indigenous Project. All 58 families of the Tall Trees Trailer Park have been relocated. Most of the community opted not to take the one-time $30,000 buyout, but instead to wait for their new housing development, where each family will receive a brand new home.
Y lo que esperamos ahora es que nuestros hijos crezcan como están creciendo ahorita. Bien, sin el riesgo de que tengan una enfermedad después que les puede perjudicar por toda su vida.
A new summer camp was also set up for the children at the trailer park, with the money coming in from Chevron and this agreement. UC Merced developed a camp to provide these kids with computer training, recreational opportunities, as well as field trips to places like Yosemite and Monterey Aquarium.
For me and for the rest of CRLA, it was a statewide victory. It was showing that toxics should not be there in the place that we live. That victory for us was a victory about health, about the health of children, about the health of working families,